Okay.
Thank you. Good evening and welcome to the Executive Board member, officers, member of public to this meeting of Executive Board. This meeting is being held virtually in accordance with the Part 2 of the Local Authority and Police and Crime Correctional Regulation 2020 and the Council Supplementary Procedure Rules. Can I ask the member and officer to observe the following principle, please? Please mute your microphone and turn off your video all time unless I have asked upon you to speak. Remember to mute your microphone and turn off your video again when you finish. Indicate at the start of the meeting if you wish to speak, or go through the team chat and put the question there and I know who is the person posing the question. I will call members speak and discretion on my own discretion according to the demand of the agenda. In terms of the voting, I will ask for all in favor. Big silence means yes. If somebody object, he can say I'm against it. Usually I'll ask all in favor. Thank you. Item 1 on agenda is minute of the meeting. That's a correct record. Yes. Any matter arising? Anybody? Councillor John Slater, anything?
No, Chair, that's fine, thank you.
Thanks. Any declaration of interest from anybody? No. Thank you. Item 4 is, can I ask member to confirm that you have considered and understood any quality impact assessment associated with the report of the agenda ahead of making any decision? Yes.
Yeah. Yes, Chair.
Item 5. Thank you. Public forum. I don't have any question from public. Item 6. I have question for non-executive member, Councillor Derek Hardman. Welcome, Derek. Thank you for coming and posing question. Over to you.
Thank you, Councillor Corn. My question is for Councillor Phil Riley, and it relates to agenda item 6.1.8. In 2013, Grade 2 listed building Griffin Lodge was badly damaged by fire. Over the years, the residents and councillors have raised concerns at the lack of the responsibility to restore this historic building. At tonight's Executive Board, you are asking to remove the £300,000 budget against Griffin Lodge. Does this mean the lodge will be allowed to fall into total dereliction? Can you also advise how much insurance money was paid to the council following the fire? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Derek. I think this portfolio is now Vicky McGuire's responsibility, not the Phil Riley responsibility, and I think Vicky will answer you. Vicky, over to you.
Thank you, Chair. Thanks, Councillor Hardman, for your question. As the leader has said, it really is fundamentally a finance question that you're asking, so it's probably best placed for me to answer for you. Now, I think there was 2 specific questions within that question, so I'll try and answer them both for you, Derek. So on the first element of the question, the budget for Griffin Lodge is being temporarily moved pending a detailed scheme that's being brought forward at a future date. The work is ongoing with public sector partners and the money remains within the Corporate Property Investment Reserve of £5.5 million and an asset management strategy of £3 million, which can be called upon when the scheme is developed. It's highly important, though, to note that the council continues to be committed to its aspirations of wanting to bring this really important building back into use. On the second part of the question, following the fire, the council received £300,000 from insurance for the lodge and £100,000 for the stables. The £300,000 was transferred to earmarked reserves, and that was to fund the initial repair works, which was reported at the Executive Board back in January 2015. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vicky. Okay, Derek.
Am I allowed a supplementary?
Yes, yes.
Yep. Obviously, I am concerned that the money hasn't stayed in the budget, obviously, in case something didn't come forward, and it has to be restored, as we hope it will be, because obviously we have further concerns against another Grade 2 listed building, which is St John's Church, which in April of this year will have been 2 years since the fire, and no work has progressed on that to restore it. And basically, I believe there's a 2.5 million insurance claim outstanding against that, and the insurance company seems reluctant to pay this across without us having a scheme put forward for us to restore it. So obviously, looking at how long Griffin Lodge has been and not restored, we have great concerns about St John's Church also.
Thank you very much, Derek. I think we share your concern, and as Vicky said, we are working very closely with the partner. I am aware of it. I think myself and Harry Castle were working very closely, and I think they put the proposal together, and then I think unfortunately they were unable to get the funding, but we are still doing something to make sure we encourage them and come forward and put the bid to the wherever they want to put it, government. I think we will do everything possible. The money which is just moved for time being to clear the account, but we can assure you the money is still there for that project.
Thank
Okay,
you.
you're welcome. Thanks, Derek.
Leader, just to add to that, as part of the secondary question, Derek, yeah, I can assure you that we are still as a council working with the insurers on St John's Church, and again, it's another important building to the borough, so it's absolutely important, and we will continue to work with the insurers on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Vicky. Thank you, Derek. Can we move on to item 7? Youth Member of Parliament report. I welcome new Deputy Youth MP, Zainab Dasu. She is replacing Khalid Umar. Welcome, Zainab. And I think they are going to do the update on the Youth MP report.
Hi everyone, I hope you're all well. So firstly, I'd just like to welcome our new Deputy Youth MP, Zainab Dasu. She's worked so hard with the forum in so many ways and really deserves this. It's really a pleasure to be working closely with you. She'll be updating following Mohammed. This past month has been full of weekly forum meetings and consultations. Really healthy discussions were undertaken, especially with Councillor Julie Gunn and Councillor Damien Talbot surrounding young people's mental health. Unfortunately, I missed that one, but the forum caught me up incredibly well, and it was like I was right there. Over the next few weeks, we have a number of consultations to look forward to, such as one with Heather Hook from Cooth, who has kindly agreed to attend our forum meeting to discuss Cooth, as mental health is one of our key campaign issues, nationally and as a forum. We also have a forum meeting with Blackburn with Darwen Public Health and Health Watch, also Benton Police Crime Forum. He is coordinating the Lancashire Youth Commission, and he wants to gather the views of young people in Lancashire on a variety of issues. They are prioritising this year mental health, relationships with the police, drugs, alcohol, abuse in relationships, hate crime and online crime. These all tie in nicely with our campaigns collectively and will help us to further them, not to mention having the pleasure of helping out with other organisations too. We are also going to target 2 of the top issues in Blackburn with Darwen, which were discussed by me at the Children's Partnership Board. As a forum, we have decided to take this on and work on these together. The campaigns are promoting our mental health and child poverty, 2 very serious and increasing issues. Yesterday, from 6 to 7 p.m, I joined the Member of Youth Parliament drop-in session, which was really insightful. I met a friend from quite a while ago and have reconnected with her. Not only did I learn about other youth MPs' campaigns and goals, I got messages to further and enhance my own campaigns. Everyone was so friendly. I got such good feedback for them, such as doing Zoom calls and writing letters, or FaceTiming members of the elderly in homes, to make sure that we are continuously building bridges between the youth and the elderly, and not letting COVID get in the way. We have decided as Youth MP and Deputy Youth MPs that we would like to write letters to local care homes and organisations, just encouraging people to keep going and that they have a friendly person to speak to always. We are thinking of starting with care homes, then going on to schools with a generated email that is sent out to all pupils, just to show our appreciation for their patience with staying indoors and not seeing family. We also want to give our thanks to the vaccination centres in Blackburn from all of us as a forum. We think this will be a really positive way of getting heard and also saying thanks for all the hard work that has gone into this year and the previous one. When normality finally starts to resurface again, there was talk about doing a lunch or holding an event between the young and the elderly, a kind of mixer where young people can learn about what the elderly have done in their lives and how times have changed. Young people can understand older members of the community and vice versa for the elderly, and hopefully end the stigma acting as a barrier between the two. Thank you, Chair. I'll now pass on to Mohammed Bapu.
Good evening. My name is Mohammed Bapu and I'm the Deputy Youth MP. Over the past month, the Forum collectively has been involved in multiple consultations and projects. It has been an extremely busy month. Last week, we met with Councillor Julie and Councillor Damien to discuss the impact of the pandemic on young people's mental health. We discussed many topics that we think should be highlighted amongst the impacts of mental health due to exam stress, isolation, and online learning during these tough times. Overall, the discussion was extremely insightful for us as young people and was a very positive experience. We have arranged to hold another meeting with both councillors in a few months. Over the past month, I have also been attending the Lancs Police Youth Commission meetings weekly, with many other like-minded young people providing feedback and insight into the best ways to distribute information targeted to supporting young people and bettering discussions. These consist of discussions about mental health, drug and alcohol abuse, online crime, and many other important topics. We have made a lot of positive progress and are hoping to begin to hold workshops across Lancashire and support as many young people as possible with discussion and ideas on ways we can work together to solve these issues. Myself and Zora have been attending weekly National Young Inspectors meetings to plan and prepare for inspections for organisations across the country, spanning from sector to sector. We have thoroughly enjoyed the past 6 months working within the Young Inspectors programme and have gained many transferable skills that will be beneficial for us as we begin to progress more through life and build on these experiences and discussions. We are hoping that we can also roll out the Young Inspectors here in Blackburn with Darwin, which will empower young people to inspect services that we receive. The Forum has been working immensely hard over the past couple of months and have had many meetings planned to provide feedback, build on ideas and discuss key topics as we progress through this pandemic. We would also like to thank the Council and all the key workers in Blackburn with Darwin for their hard work, dedication and their resilience. As young people, it is difficult during these circumstances as we are missing out on building memories and experiencing the key parts of our teenage years, but we have to appreciate all the work that has been put in to support us throughout the pandemic. As things are starting to improve day by day and the light at the end of the tunnel is getting brighter, even though we aren't out of the woods yet, we will forever remember and cherish the compassion shown to help young people during these extraordinary times and use it as motivation and inspiration as we grow older to keep on being resilient and to not get held down even during the worst of times. Thank you for all that you do. Thank you, Chair. I will now pass on to our newly appointed Deputy Youth MP, Zainab Dasu.
Over the past few weeks, we have been assisting in many consultations, including on the Be Yourself website for mental well-being of young children. We met with the comms team and discussed ways to get messages to young people regarding adhering to COVID guidelines via social media. We also deliberated with Sophie from BWD Health Living to discuss ideas on an initiative to encourage healthy eating amongst people struggling with food poverty. Last week, we consulted with Councillor Julie and Councillor Damien in regards to the impact of COVID on children and young people's mental health. I am looking forward to the next 12 months of being Deputy Youth MP. Thank you.
Leader, are you on mute?
Sorry, Phil. Vicky, you have a question and Julie has a question. Hello.
Thank you, Chair. Vicky, did you want to go first?
No, you go first. That's fine, Julie.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Chair. Thank you very much, Zara and Mohammed and Zainab. Congratulations, Zainab. It's really, really wonderful that you're our Deputy Youth MP. It was lovely to meet you the other night as well, virtually. Just to say, what always strikes me about your feedback is how positive you are. You're really digging deep. And we all need to do that. So thank you for that. It was lovely to meet you for to discuss the issues that you'd raised at our previous executive board, and I'm delighted that you're meeting with Couth soon, because that was again something that we wanted to make sure has happened, because they need your advice about how to communicate the good work that they're doing, and I think that's really positive too. I think your decision to write letters to care homes is absolutely lovely. So I think that's really commendable, and I'm sure the residents will look forward to receiving those. You've all described meeting Damien and I the other week as positive for you, but it was incredibly positive for us too, because it's important that we know what the issues are and how we can help to address them, and how you can help us to disseminate the information about how we go about doing that. So thank you too. The other point I was going to make was about your focus of your campaigns around child poverty. It's absolutely vital that this is addressed at every opportunity, so I want to thank you for making that one of your key campaigns, and the work you're doing to achieve that is really, really great. Thank you for that. We've seen an increase in child poverty in this borough from 30% before the COVID pandemic hit to now being about 47% of our children living in poverty, so I'm so pleased that you've taken that as one of your key issues. Thank you for that. I'm always full of admiration for your resilience and your support of your peers, but also the rest of the community. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Julie. Vicky?
Thanks, Chair. Yeah, I just want to echo everything Julie said. I won't repeat, but absolutely in awe every time we come to these meetings at just how wonderful our young people are. And Zainab, well done, and welcome to Executive Board. And if in the time that you guys are our youth MPs, if you're interested in anything related to finance, HR, property, you'd be welcome to attend one of my briefing sessions if you want to see how that side of the council works and how you can have an input in with the youth of the borough. So massive well done, absolutely in awe, and all the work you're doing is just amazing. Thank you.
Thank you, Vicky. Damien?
Thanks, Chair. Obviously, it was fantastic to meet with you last week. It was an absolute pleasure. It's always a pleasure to meet with the Youth Forum members. I've been to many meetings before. Congratulations, absolutely, to Zainab. I think the point that you make about mental health, and we had a long discussion about this in the meeting last week, is just massive. This is absolutely one of the most significant issues that this country is going to face as we exit this pandemic. The number of conversations I've had today with people who are clearly struggling as we come towards the end of this latest lockdown period just shows that it's just going to be a continued issue. And I just think it's something that as time goes on, I hope that the government comes forward with extra resource to support people, because the nation's going to face a huge mental health crisis if we don't tackle these issues as we exit the pandemic. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you very much, Damien. Anybody else? Okay. Thank you, Zara, Mohammed, Zainab. I'm not going to repeat what our other members said. I think you are doing a great job. Keep doing it, keep going. And if you need any help from our side, all the executive members, we are here. So thank you once again. Thank you. Okay, move on to item 8, executive member report. Leader, myself, I think it's only about COVID-19. Our rate is 16,482 confirmed cases in Blackburn and Darwin. Our rate today was 320 per 100,000. Our positive rate is 12.4. There was 173 COVID patients in East Lancashire Hospital. And out of those, on Monday, there was 55 from Blackburn and Darwin. I think vaccination rate is going very well. My thanks to all the partners. We are going to run a campaign with Telegraph. Thanks to Telegraph and many number of other people who are pushing a lot of positive message, asking people, please go and get your vaccination. And my plea to all the people is please, please, please. This is the only way forward. That's the only way, light end of the tunnel. I have mine. I have no problem. I've spoken to many number of people who are saying there's no problem whatsoever. So thank you everybody who is putting a positive message. So I hope things will get better. I think we have quite a big number gone through the vaccination. That which is good news. Thank you. Can I move on to adult service prevention? Mustafa cannot join it. I don't know. This is his problem second time, so I don't think he has anything to report. So can I move on to 8.1, young people and education, children? Julie?
Thank you, Chair. Before moving my adoption report, I just wanted to bring some good news to Executive Board that Lytham Road had an interim Ofsted inspection that finished yesterday. It was announced and completed yesterday, and I'm pleased to report that they've retained their good status. So just want to offer congratulations to the staff and say thanks for their hard work and commitment for that. And with that, I'll move the report and take any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Report is moved. Second. Any question, comments? All in favor of adoption 6-month report? Carried. Move on to 8.2. Evidence-based practice of court. That's you, Julie.
It is me. Thank you, Chair. This is the feedback from our 12-month review. Members might remember that in 2019 we commissioned Professor David Thorpe to do a review of our front door service, which was formerly known as the MASH, and we introduced the Children's Advice and Duty Service on the advice of his recommendations. The report talks about the significant improvements in terms of caseloads and the implementation of CADs, and it's just a summary of the review from Professor Thorpe's team when they came in December. So if I can just highlight some of the points. I mean, the report obviously demonstrates the way that this has been received by partners. So excellent professional support, very satisfied with his communication from a GP, lots of positive feedback there. But I think what's important about this is what's happened at the front door now. We have social workers who are taking telephone contacts, and this has meant that we've seen an increase in contacts by over 400% of telephone contacts being made. And Professor Thorpe has described this as the highest he's seen in terms of implementation, and it's a real positive, because what happens therefore is the advice that's given at that level means that there are fewer referrals being made compared to this time last year, and also there are fewer single assessments. So essentially what that means is the right help is being given at the very earliest opportunity, so that issues and cases don't escalate unnecessarily, and that therefore means we've seen a reduction of around 30% of that of referrals and single assessments, and that has meant that the quality of those assessments, the social workers have got fewer caseloads, fewer cases in their workload, and that means that the quality of their reporting is improving as well. So it's having a significant positive impact across the whole service, really, and I'm really proud of the team, and particularly for Jane Ivory. When you'll know, Chair, when she first joined us, she was challenged with some of those issues around us. We were particularly an outlier in the number of caseloads our staff were dealing with, and one of the first things we asked her to do was address this, and I'm proud to say that she has done that. So I just want to offer her my deepest thanks as well. With that, I'll take any questions. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Vicky?
Thanks, Chair. It's less of a question, more a comment, really, just to say congratulations to the whole of the service, the portfolio, and yourself, Julie, as well, because obviously, as well as Jane coming in new, you have done yourself, and you've taken the challenge on. I know that you've been working really closely with the finance portfolio, so it's really pleasing. It just shows that all of the recommendations made by Ofsted have been listened to, followed, and it's much more efficient. So it's not only, the financial impacts are significant, but the greater significance is the impact it has on families and children. So massive well done to the whole the team, and to you, Julie. Thank you.
Thank you, Vicky. Damien?
Thanks, Chair. Yeah, I support the report. It's an excellent report, and I'm fully supportive of this service. However, I only have one point, which is just in relation to the title of the report and decision, and it's in honour of the Plain English Society. Please can reports have the full words, because it just says CADS, and I know it does describe it in the content of the report, but just to make things accessible, I think we should have the full words in the title of the report. But apart from that, very happy. Thanks, Chair.
Great, great. That is taken on the board. I think Julie will give the full explanation next time.
Certainly will. Sorry about that, Damien.
Chair,
Chair,
can I just make a comment, please?
Of course.
Yes, John.
Sorry.
Go on.
Julie, I think it would be useful for you to actually do this at the full council and give every member whether it's put on the report or whether it's just as a verbal update. I think it would be useful for all members to go through this and to see it, rather than just a scrutiny matter or at the exec board. I think it would be useful to all councillors, at least to give them an idea of what we're doing and how we're trying to improve the service.
Okay, John, that's not a big issue. I think she will bring the report on 25th of March. The next one is Finance Council, and the other forum is quite clearly for the member to bring the report.
Yeah. Chair, do you mind if I just respond? Yeah, absolutely right. In reverse order, John, yes, definitely want to bring this to full council. I did mention it at our last forum, but the report wasn't, we didn't have the summary ready to share then. So absolutely, I will bring this to full council. Damien, yes, what an oversight. I will make sure that the full title is in. Maureen will be furious with me. And Vicky, I share, absolutely. Thank you very much. I will pass on your thanks and yours to Damien and John. Yes, of course, Ofsted's important, and it was important that we demonstrated how we're dealing with those issues. But you're quite right. The really important point is that the impacts on the children and their families and how we're supporting them. So thank you. I'll pass all of your good comments back to the team. Thanks.
Thanks, Julie. Recommendation approved, and everybody in favor of it. Yes. Move on to Environment Services, Jim.
Nothing to report, Chair.
Thank you. Public Health and Wellbeing, Damien.
Nothing to report, Chair, this month.
Thank you. Digital and Customer, Casher.
Nothing to report, Chair, this month. Thank you.
Growth, Phil.
Nothing to report until a little bit later.
Thank you very much. 8.3 corporate revenue budget, Vicky.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, so 8.3 is the revenue budget monitoring report for Q3, and I'm asking the Executive Board to approve the portfolio cash limits as set out in Appendix 1, also the earmarked reserves as set out in the Appendix 2. Just before moving this report, for clarity, it is clear in the report, but just to make comment that the money, the COVID funding money for portfolios and revenue are being held currently in earmarked reserves, as the council is still spending on COVID and is still making losses on COVID as we're in year. At the year end at 31st of March, those earmarked reserves will move to offset against the costs of loss of income and costs for COVID. Just make that point, because in case there are any queries on that. But happy to take any comments or questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Vicky. Any question, comment?
Yes, Chair. Can I just make a couple of comments? First of all, is that we've had a substantial amount of money from the government, but I'm glad to see that we are keeping some back and using it as, I know a lot of it's going to business rates and straight away, but there is a lot of ongoing costs that we're going to incur. So I'm glad to see that we are keeping some back and we have just earmarked it and it is ring fenced for COVID, because I think it's going to be important going forward, whether that's to top up loss of income from council tax, whether that's to give businesses a bit more time to pay the business rates. I think it's something that we're going to need to do in the future. And I'm glad to see, Vicky, that you have done that. It's pleasing to see. Thank you.
Thank you. No problem, John. I think finance is Vicky's hand, and she is very tight on these things. And I can show you that take a look at every line and make sure the money is spent in the right way.
Can I just respond, Chair? But yeah, thanks, John. That's really appreciated. Rather than looking at losses of income and expenditure every month or every quarter, because it is an ongoing issue and it's so unpredictable. We don't know how long COVID is going to be going on for. It makes much more efficient sense to go with the actuals, and that way we're being super efficient with the COVID money, and we are making sure that there is some of the money that's come in for this year that was designated, the government had sort of allowed for it for next year, is being earmarked into next year. All of our finance reports will clearly mark the COVID money where it's marked in earmarked reserves, and a lot of the money is quite strict on what it can be spent for and when it has to be spent, and we're being extra cautious with any unallocated reserves that are for COVID to make sure we can offset against any future COVID loss of income and expenditure. But yeah, appreciate comments, John, and thank you very much.
Okay, anybody else? No? So all in favor of the recommendation, portfolio cash limit adjustment, earmark reserve position, and variation of revenue expenditure. Everybody happy?
Yes, Chair.
Great. Okay. Next, 8.4 corporate capital budget. Vicky?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Me again. So this one is the corporate capital report, and what I'm asking for is Executive Board to approve the revised capital programme as set out in Appendix 1. Also approve the variations as set out in Appendix 2. And again, just before moving the report, just to get a bit of context, some of the movement is, well, in the main, it's due to COVID. Some of the projects have been slow to deliver or are not completed on time due to COVID. There's been some projects that have been delivered under budget, so there's some movement in budgets coming back into the council, and there's also an additional disabled facilities grant of £253,000 that's been included as well. So my ask is that the Executive Board approves that. Thank you.
Okay, any question, comment?
Yes, Chair. A couple of things. First of all is I'm a bit concerned about some of the slippages. I understand that Vicky's saying it's COVID related and some of it is, but looking at it, some of it isn't. I would ask her to keep a close eye on this because it seems to be a regular occurrence. I know it's not necessarily going to be easy, but it's something that we need to do, especially as the budgets get tight and start to squeeze. I'm sure she's well aware of that. But the main one is that I really welcome the disability one. I think it's really welcome. I think it's really needed. And I think that it sends the right message from the borough to the disabled people that live here. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, John. Vicky?
Chair. Yeah, thanks, John. You're completely right. Anything we can do for the people of the borough is always welcomed. With regards to capital expenditure, you have my pledge that I will keep a close eye on this and work really closely with growth and development to make sure that things are progressing, and obviously report back to this board on a quarterly basis as we do now. So thank you.
Okay. So everybody happy with recommendation? Approve the revised capital program as Appendix 1. To approve the variation to the program shown in Appendix 2. Yes. Carried. Can we move on to item 9, corporate issues? 9.1. Phil?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, so this is the, as the agenda says, this is about the creation of a joint venture company with Maple Grove, and then the subsequent acquisition by that joint venture company of the former Thwaite site in the centre of Blackburn. Nobody needs reminding that this is a critical site in the centre of the town, and it's always been in our eye from the point of view of placemaking, to keep our eye on that, and eventually it was drawn to our attention by Thwaites, as we had asked them to do, that when they were starting to receive bids that were of interest to them, that they informed us, and at that stage we invited Maple Grove to get involved, and they did, and the consequence was that we or Maple Grove had an offer accepted, and that's why we are in the situation that we're in. Happy to answer any questions.
Thanks, Phil. Anybody, any question, comments?
Yes, please, Chair. Obviously, I welcome the acquisition, and I understand the need for doing it, but I have concerns the fact that we're in a minority shareholder, which doesn't give us a voice as such, because we can be outvoted, and I don't care what anyone says. We all still only know, according to the report, we only own 49%. And then going forward is, now we've acquired it, have we got any definite interest, any plans? I mean, we look at the Cathedral Quarter and half of it's empty. People are coming and going. Some are successful, some aren't. I know that's commercial, but at the end of the day, it has an effect on the town, and it just generally concerns me, especially after we've had things like East is East, that we do have a coherent and proper plan, and it's not just going to be turned into a car park and tarmac's over like the rest of it seems to be doing. Thank you, Chair.
You're right. It is we have got 49%. The view is that if it is led by a private company, that will make it more easy for us to get involved in the world of commercials. That's what we've done on the Barnfield Blackburn joint venture, which is in the process of being very successful in the Milking Lane development. So I think we're comfortable. Our relationship with Maple Grove, I think we'd be terribly disappointed if we ever reach a stage where we got to voting against each other and lost to them. So I don't think that's what we believe will be a consideration. And in terms of we have got some interest. We have been in discussions, but this is a bit chicken and egg like. It's difficult to have discussions with people about a piece of land that you don't own. And I was going to say our hand was forced. I mean, in the end, the situation came along where Thwaites had received an offer which they were minded to accept. And at that stage, we had a simple choice, really, which was that we either did what we did, or that we stood on the sidelines and watched that really critical site fall into the hands of somebody who we had no idea what it was, what their plans were. They may have had no plans at all. We do believe very strongly that the council has a role in placemaking, and that site, in truth, is just central to the placemaking in that area. I don't think we have got plans. Councillor Slater makes reference to some places that have become empty in the Cathedral Square area. Those are particularly two hospitality venues. We're obviously very disappointed about those, but they are two of thousands and thousands of hospitality venues across the country that have had a similar experience during this pandemic, and sadly there may well be plenty more. And we just believe in the end that this pandemic will end, and when it ends, we as the council need to be in a position to affect how the town centre looks. I think people would think it was a dereliction of duty if we stood on the sidelines and watched somebody else buy it and then started to do things which everybody thought was inappropriate. I think people would be critical of the council for having allowed that to happen. So, I mean, I absolutely understand the point. Nobody will be more excited than I am when I can come back to this board and report the next pieces and stages of progress. You know, you can rest assured that the growth team, now that we do own the property, we have or the site, or we will do as time goes on, we will be in a better position to start to talk to potential partners with Maple Grove, or invite Maple Grove to have those conversations themselves. I think Councillor Khan has gone quiet again. I think Vicky, did you have a question?
Question.
Yes.
Thanks, Chair. Just wanted to sort of welcome this news, Phil. I think it's a fantastic piece of acquisition and a great joint venture, I think, moving forward as we come out of COVID, which we will do at some stage this year, hopefully. You know, we have to plan for a recovery, and that recovery has to be centered around us being in control of it as the local authority. And this is a prime piece of land located in the town centre. And like you said, you know, we didn't want any other parties acquiring this and then us fighting over what can be developed there or not. So you know, I welcome this acquisition, and I think it'll be a great move as we move forward in terms of our recovery out of COVID. Thank you.
Thanks, Vicky.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, obviously this report is a joint report for growth and finance. So just really to support what Councillor Riley has said, absolutely echo everything he said, and what Councillor Mahmood has just said too, that, you know, this is in the town centre. We want to ensure the future of our town centre economy, and we're unable to do that if it goes into the hands of individuals or companies that we have no control over, and who we wouldn't necessarily want developing in our town centres. So it's the right thing to be doing for the council, and it's a glimmer of hope for what we can hold within the future and use that space for once the strategy is fully developed. Thank you.
Thanks, Vicky. Anybody else? Thanks, Phil. My sincere thanks to yourself, Phil, and Simon Jones. I think you've done a wonderful job negotiating the partnership and also trying to get this land from Kuwait. I know there's a lot of work gone to it. It's not something overnight or easy, but I think the people done a great job trying to acquire this piece of land which is center of the town. Thank you. So move the recommendation. Everybody in favor?
Yep.
Thank you. Carried. Item 10, matter referred from executive board, none. No, we are moving to part 2. You have to come out of this system and go to part 2 on agenda. If you go on your system, you will be able to come back. Thank you.